Hi, welcome to our podcast for this week. I'm Narelle Todd from Get My Book Out There.
Hi, I'm Essie Smith. I'm a New York Times USA Today bestselling author, and we have a good one today.
So, we're going to go into the land of AI. I've taken a deep breath and we thought we would discuss it from each of our perspectives on the use of AI in business and in author land and in writing, and just put our 2 cents worth in and how we're using it or not using it in our business. So I'll hand over to Susan because you're going to lead off on this one.
We were laughing before, and it was like, okay, how are we going to approach this? Because there are those that are really against it, there are those that don't have a clue, and those that are really for it. And of course, that's what they call the bell curve. So you're going to have people all the way across that spectrum. And I think it's, as an author, I think it's a very exciting time. But you have to understand that I'm also coming from a background where I have a degree in electronics, a degree and my master's degree in integrating technology into the curriculum. So I'm coming from a technology background. And so those that don't may not embrace it quite as well. But I think pretty much everyone is going to agree that it's here to stay. It's not
Yes.
going to just disappear. We're looking at today to AI or not to AI. And really, it's all in your business model. It's how you want to start approaching it. And for me, having a technology background, I'm for it because I see the benefits for it. I see it as another tool. Just like when the computers first came out, we were early adopters. We were willing to pay $2,500 for a computer that had, what was it, 4 meg RAM
Yes.
and an 85 meg hard drive with actually had the 3.5 inch floppy. So we were cutting edge candy. Radio Shack had come out with that computer. And you could tell Radio Shack's no longer around, but we still are, and computers have evolved. I'm seeing AI something that we're going to have to evolve with. It's
Yeah.
just another tool in the business model.
Yes. And
So,
certainly my take is that it's a tool that we can use. And I certainly use it and I show authors how to use it to help them on the marketing side of things, in their admin, really with the aim of reducing all of that sort of stuff, the non-writing time, reducing that down to, if you can do your admin in 10 hours a month, who wouldn't want that? So I'm coming from the perspective of how do we tap into it as a tool to help us with the admin side of things, the marketing side of things, as a way to, I guess, more or less clone yourself. So you actually have that other person who can do things the way you want it done and go and do your admin and tasks.
I probably tell you once a day, I wish I could clone myself. I wish I could clone myself. I wish I have so much to do. I wish I could clone myself. And the reason I want to do that is so that I can have more time to write,
Yes.
because that's something that AI can't do. It can't write like I do, but it can do all of the other stuff that I'm not excited about doing.
Yeah.
And again, I'm coming back to the idea of when, if you were an accountant and 100 years ago, everything was written down in a journal and you had your columns and all of this. And then lo and behold, we've got Excel spreadsheets that you can put something in and the formulas are done for you. You don't have to remember all these complicated math. And it's like bam, bam, bam. And it prints it out and you've got everything there for you. That back end admin stuff is one of the things that authors really, really struggle with. And I know you've got a 10-hour author course.
Or the club. Yeah.
Yeah, that we've been attending. And every time you give us a workshop on it, It's like our minds are blown and we see, like, oh my God, I don't have to spend 20, what was it? I did something the other day, just playing around, testing a new function with the ChatGPT has Asia.
Agents, yeah.
And I had gotten a promo and I'm thinking I'd love to do it, but it takes time because then I got to go through all my books and see which ones go with it and which ones won't. And then I've got to match up the pricing and I've got to do this and that and the other. So there was so many steps involved that I would need to do that that right there takes away, would probably take, I would say, a good 5 hours
Yes.
to
Yeah.
go through all of it and put all of that information in and then go and actually apply for it. And for a promo you may not even get. So that's 5 hours of my time that I could have used writing that for to apply for a promo that you can't make money unless you do advertise that I may not get. And yet I gave it over to the agent and he asked me a couple of questions. I answered his questions and he says, no problem. I'm working on this. And then I'm working on this. And 23 minutes took him 23 minutes. So if it takes an AI 23 minutes to do that, you can imagine how long it would have taken me. And here's the list of books that qualify. These are the pricing you've got at all these different sites. This is the reason why they will go with this. And here's the hashtags that they want you to use. And guess what I did during that 23 minutes? I wrote.
I wrote. Yeah.
This is all part of looking at your business model. Do you want to use AI or don't you? If you've got the 5 hours and you would prefer to spend that time going through and doing this instead of writing, if that's something that really you enjoy doing and you don't mind doing it, then, go ahead. But with my schedule and my amount of number of books, it just didn't make sense. And it
So let
doesn't make
me,
sense for me to pay somebody.
yeah, let me address the elephant in the room.
Okay.
So let's say with
Is
your
he a
100,
pretty elephant?
it's a very
Is,
beautiful elephant.
is he multicolored?
You've got your 120 books, let's say, and one of the trigger points around AI is the fact that it's stolen information from people like yourself. So without your
Mhm.
permission, knowing permission, it's gone and gone through, say, all your books, gotten a sense for how sentences are structured, emotions, all of these things are portrayed out. And that is the information that's helped build the AI that
Mhm.
we're using today. So, how do you reason that out? How this tool was created versus this tool, which is so damn good and saves us so much time and helps us automate the boring things in our business so we can get on with the stuff we love. I love the fact that I've got more time to coach people. I'd rather be doing that than paperwork. I'm just thinking even of just my quarterly business activity statement that I have to lodge here in Australia. I have to show all my receipts and everything like that. I've got AI which does all of that for me now. I used to spend probably half a day to a day collecting all that stuff, putting it all together. Now it just does a report and it's got all the receipts attached and all the rest of it. I love that aspect of it, but there's also the part of where this came from, where this magnificent tool started from. As somebody who's directly impacted because your works have been used, how do you resolve the tension?
They have this saying, change the things you can, accept the things you can't, and be wise enough to know the difference between the
Uh-huh.
two. And I know that I cannot change the fact that AI is coming. I cannot, there are certain things I could do to mitigate, but even before AI, even before many of the other things that have come about, there was piracy of my books. My books, and from the very beginning when I first started writing, were constantly showing up on pirated sites
Yeah.
where I wasn't earning money, but people were putting my content out there. I bet you if you go on YouTube right now, you would see my audiobooks that I did not put on there. There's some that I did, but there's a lot that I did not. And then one of the reasons we started putting them on there is that people were pirating. And I was spending sometimes days going in and filing reports, trying to get them to take them down. And it was literally, I was getting buried because they were doing it faster than I could stop them. Now, one of the good things about ChatGPT is they do have a setting in the settings that you can tell them, no, don't use my content to train your AI. And I have done that. Do I really think it helps? No, I think they're still using it. And I've actually gone on sites that check to see have has AI used my content to train their system. And I've gotten all this huge list of all my books that they've used to help train their AI system. Do I like it? No, but I'm smart enough to know there's nothing I can do about it. So I'm not going to waste my time on that. I'm going to use their tool that they developed with partially my content to my advantage. It's the best of both worlds. I'm not going to be stressed out about something I can't change, but I can change how I'm going to handle it and my attitude about it and how I'm going to say, fine, you want to use my stuff, then I'm going to use yours. And this is how I'm going to use it to make my life better, to help compensate me for you using my stuff to become profitable for you.
Yeah. Yeah. I think one of the worst ways I see AI chatbots being used is where people put in a really bad prompt and they get really bad content and then they put that out as their work. You do need to train it to speak like you and talk like you, but even the content that it produces for you, let's say it's a social media post, I think you still need to treat it almost as it's a first draft. And then I need to
Mhm.
go in there and give it my edge. So I use ChatGPT. It's pretty good. It gives some good content, but I have spent a lot of time training it to produce like me. And I think that's where we also get into a degree of difficulty because people will use it and then they'll go, oh, it's rubbish anyway. But that's because they haven't spent the time to train it to sound like them. And they're putting in broad
You, you're gonna
instructions.
you put in garbage, you're gonna get garbage out.
Yes, yes, very much so.
And I love the fact that you're saying you're using it as a first draft because it would just be like asking your assistant to write something. And then your assistant writes it and then gives it to you. And from years of working in admin, if that happens, then what you do is you take what's been written and you go through it and you polish it up so that it's polished and it has your voice and any garbage that was in it is taken out and replaced. And so that is, like I said, it's a tool. It's not a replacement.
Yeah,
And as much as I would love for it to be able to clone me and I could just stick probes into my head and all my dreams and different stories would just pop out, that would be wonderful. We're not there yet. So that kind of reminds me of a Disney movie with Kurt Russell, a gazillion, that I think the guy that wore tennis
hmm,
shoes or something, where, suddenly
yes,
his brain was like a computer and he could just pop stuff out. We're not there yet. Understanding the limitations of AI. And it's just like when the voice recognition first came out, you have to train it. And sometimes, like me, have difficulty with the way I speak and the words. It never did understand me, no matter how much I trained it. It was just like, did you say this? It's like talking to Siri. Siri, what is this? And it gives you something, especially the old Siri. It would give all this like really weird stuff and you would just laugh at it. But you have to spend that time to train it. You have to get to know it and it has to get to know you.
Yes. Yeah, definitely. I certainly see how it's changing the back end of business, the admin side of business. And of course, coming from a HR background, I'm always thinking like, this is
Mm.
actually changing work roles in a huge way. So,
Benefits versus the non-benefits.
yeah,
So the
yeah,
benefits, let's look at the non-benefits. Can you think of any?
I would say that the roles that we know of today would definitely be changing. So let's
Mm.
thinking of authorland as an example, the role of the personal assistant or the virtual assistant is going to look, I think, quite different in 6 months, certainly in 12 months, because a lot of those admin functions we can actually do now with automations. So we don't need people for that.
See, that's where I'll disagree a little bit with
Mm,
like the PA. I'm seeing it more as I can turn over more of the stuff that I had been doing to my PA. But if I train my PA on using it and the PA has trained the chat GTP both in my voice and their voice, but I can actually get them to do more deeper involved stuff that maybe I haven't had them do before because of time limitations, because
mhm.
I've had them doing so many other things. So now I'm able to free up some of their time to work on even more in-depth business stuff
Yeah,
that
yeah.
we neither one of us had time for.
Yeah. But when
So
you think of it though, the role as it is now is different. So
yeah,
if you are a VA and you say love doing the admin side of things,
you're going to
that's
have to
been taken
evolve.
over. Yes. So you will need to look at your work in a different way. So, for example,
Mhm.
your PA is flexible and willing to go, okay,
Yes,
I get to now do this stuff instead of this over
like
here.
today.
Yes, not everybody is going to react that way. And so there will be some people who may feel that they've been done out of a job or are feeling really worried about that. So, yes, I
I
see it as a downside, but I think there's a benefit to it, but we'll come to that when we get to the benefits.
and I also see what you're talking about as an author in that, like the narrators with the AI narrations, they're becoming very popular because guess what? It doesn't cost anything, or it costs a fraction of the price of what you normally pay for a human to do the
Yes.
narration. For me, I'm still using a human narrator because I don't feel that the AI can capture my stories with the emotion and the degree that a true human performer can give. And some readers don't care. They can listen to the more robotic author audiobook and not
Yes.
care about it.
Yeah.
Where for me, it's from start to finish. This is my baby. It's my story. I'm giving it out to the world. This is something that's going to be out there. But from a financial point of view, it's going to hurt. It's going to take a lot longer for me to get a return on my investment so that I can do the next one. And I'm
Yes.
already seeing this because, like my translators, the people who have been translating my books, they're going up on their prices. But my return on investment is going down. And all the changes, both politically with the governments wanting the digital world, the polar climaxes that are going on in the political world, but also it's the transition from audio narration and translations. But just cost wise, what authors are making on their books and being able to be seen are getting more and more difficult. So we're having to cut back in areas that before we spent a considerable amount of money to help the economy of the world. And now they're actually making it more difficult for us to do that.
Yeah. And when you think I've just pulled up my Kindle, so I have the Kindle app on my iPhone, and in a way, the big companies like Amazon are actually making the decision for us around
Yes.
translators or
Mm.
narrators rather with the assistive reader feature.
Yes.
So
Yes.
they're bypassing even your choice as a business owner of will I use a human narrator or will I use an AI narrator?
And technically, that's a violation of my copyright. We were talking about piracy.
Uh-huh.
If I put my ebook up there, that does not give them the rights to my audio.
Yeah.
So when
And
they do that with the voice assisted, they're actually putting it into audio. So it's a violation of my rights, and I don't get compensated for that.
yes, yeah, you're not paid for that audio
No,
segment.
and I should be. And in fact, I actually lose money because I've paid a narrator to narrate my book. So now people are bypassing the audiobook that I paid another person who was able to make a living because I
Mhm.
paid
Mm,
them. So they're almost forcing that person out, but they're also going to eventually force me out of business because they're taking my intellectual property, which I own the rights to, converting it to a different format, which I did not give them permission to do.
yes. And of course, they put it all under the guise of diversity and helping people who are vision impaired,
The only
so that
person they're
they
helping are themselves.
yes, is
And
Amazon.
this is where I get upset because this again is the piracy. So it's what can I do as an author? I can't go up against Amazon. And they know that and they use that to their advantage.
Yeah.
If all of those authors were to get together and go against them, might have a chance. Though we know the only persons that would really profit would be the lawyers, and Amazon in the end would not be hurt at all. But the thing is, do I want to stress about the things that I can't change? So I need to figure out a way to take what they're doing and put it to my advantage. And if it eventually means that I have to relook at my business model and say, I love human narrators, but, you know, what am I going to do? Am I going to go ahead and say, yes, I'm going to continue? Or am I going to have to compromise, what I feel is right for the reader?
Yeah. Yeah. So what do you see as the negatives for AI, apart from what we discussed about obviously changes to roles and those sorts of things?
The fact that there's a monopoly and that only a few companies have that control, that it is costing, I think it's hurting artists, our cultural development more than it is anywhere else. Now, although the good thing is if you look at the medical field, AI can really advance. It can see things that a human eye might miss, but will it eventually take a radiologist's job? Possibly. I don't think it'll ever take a doctor's because we need that human contact. Some of the back end people, I think that it's going to affect. But again, hasn't that been what's happened throughout history? With the advent of the typewriter, you didn't need to have somebody pulling these little letters and putting them in so they can be inked.
Yeah. I think I had said to you before, it's a bit like living in, say, the time change when we went from a more agrarian type of culture and we moved into the industrial era. I often
Horse and
wondered,
buggy to
yeah,
automobile.
yeah,
Yeah.
what that felt like. I think we're actually feeling that. I think
Yeah.
it's just moving faster. The changes are
Yes.
happening faster than it did in the previous changes. And the fastness of how it's moving is having a significant impact on people.
Well,
Just trying to
people,
keep up with everything.
computers, we used to last about every 6 months to a year, the computer technology doubled. And it did that for year after year until it finally pretty much stabilized. And now it's really the components are changing, but the actual computing is not changing as quickly. And I think this is what's happening with AI. And there's those of us that are able to adapt at the speed of thought, and those of us that aren't. But you just have to relieve the stress. Is understand which are you the one that needs time to acclimate, to learn this stuff, to grow? Or are you one that is, I don't know what I'm doing, but I'm going to figure it out. I'm going to just go for it and see where it takes me.
Yeah.
Neither one is wrong. Neither model is wrong. I think the only wrong model is to think, I'm not going to do it. I'm not going to learn it. And it's all going to just disappear. And I think if you're that model, you're going to get left behind and you're going to struggle and you're not going to be happy because you're not changing with the times. You're still maybe even back before the horse in the wagon. You're on
Yeah.
the pull cart, the push
Yeah.
cart.
Yeah.
So you just
So
have to understand where you're at.
moving on to the benefits. What are some of the benefits?
Sky's the limit. You may not be cloning yourself right now, but you're cloning your PA and you can train your PA to do a lot more than they've done before, which is actually going to benefit them in the long run in the market. So if they were to go get another job and the company says, are you familiar with AI and social media? Before it used to be, do you know social media? Yeah, I'm on Facebook all the time. Okay, you're hired. Now it's going to be, do you know AI? And it's use it all the time. This is how I use it. I can do copy stuff. I know they're going to be like, you're hired. And in fact, it's one of the fastest growing, most profitable careers probably to be in if you get really good at it, especially at creating the different chats and being able to use them to create genre specific things. So when you're looking at it from that point of view, from an author point of view, I'm looking at it just as another great tool in my arsenal of being a better writer. I don't really see that many negatives to it, except what we've already discussed. But for the positives, the benefits, I'm hoping it makes my life a lot easier. I hope it gives me more time for writing. I hope it helps me make my writing better. I can ask it, what do you think of this story? And it gives me an in depth, and I ask it to honestly tell me, what do you think of this story? Not give me something that's going to just pat me on the back. I need to know where are the bullseyes on it so I can take care of them. And it can do it in a fraction of a second. And I can know, am I on the right course or not?
Yeah. Certainly as a business owner for me, this is a benefit, but it's also something I'm also grappling with. And that is I have way more free time than I did before. And the natural reaction is to fill it,
Yes.
is to fill that time.
Yes.
Do I feel, and so this is part of the thing that I've been grappling with by increasing my use of automations. And as I said, even just like with my quarterly BAS statement for the government for tax, I've probably saved a good 5 hours with that. And it's like the whole notion, let's say, of a 40-hour work week being the norm, and that's the safe amount of work to do. I don't know
Mhm.
who thought 40 hours was a good idea, but anyway, let's say that's the assumption that 40 hours is a good amount of work to do. Now I'm finding that I can still earn the same amount of money, but I'm actually working less time. And my first inclination was to actually fill that spare time with more work because I should be working 40 hours a week. And if I'm not, I'm
Yes.
slacking off. And I
Yeah.
found that really fascinating. I was just, and it just dawned on me one day when I was going, why am I actually doing whatever this job, like something had come up. Oh no, I'll do that. And I'm like, why am I even doing that? That's not helping anything to do with the bottom end. Oh, it's
Yeah.
not going to bring in more money. It's not actually helping anybody. It's just filler work. Why am I doing filler work and how much I hate filler work, which tends to be where people go when they don't know what to do. We do stuff which takes time but doesn't actually achieve anything.
Well, when they're avoiding exercise. Yeah.
So I'm finding the benefit of more time is actually also creating a discussion for me around what do I want my life to look like? Yes, now I've got time to go to the gym. So dang, there goes that excuse. But seriously, it
It could help
does.
you actually live a better, healthier life because you
Yes.
are actually working less on work and having time to work on yourself. And
Yeah.
whether it's going to the gym or spending more time with your family
Yes.
or creating a new hobby, whether you want to paint or embroider or build book nooks. I've been or read. I've actually had a little bit more time to read and building the book nook. I've taken time out to do some of that.
Yeah.
And it's just, do I feel guilty? Yeah, because like you said, I'm used to working. For me, it's more like an 80-hour week.
Yes.
So
Yeah.
cutting back. But I'm also finding that because I'm not as stressed about doing some of the other stuff, I'm actually writing stories that I probably shouldn't be writing, but that I want to write.
Yeah.
And for me, it's like a bonus. It's like having a piece of cake because I'm doing something that I really, I'm really love my stories. But when I get to do one that I know I'm not supposed to, it's just that mindset. Oh, I'm
Yeah.
doing something I shouldn't. I'll be naughty
Yeah.
type
Yeah.
thing. But I'm enjoying that.
Yeah. I've
So
noticed
it's
that I was talking
that's a
with an
different thing.
author, yeah, the other day who's in my 10-hour author club. And she said that she's with the automations and everything that she's got in place, she now takes Saturday and Sundays off. And she said she's just initially it was a bit like, oh, I'm a bit naughty because she's been used to working
And
all the days as you do as an author. And she said, now I don't have to. I get to take those days off. I was like, "Oh, yeah, good." And so, yeah, she's out there doing some fun stuff. So, yeah, I definitely see that as a benefit. And I think anything that gets us to have a think about how we're living our life
yeah.
is always good
And
to make
something
sure that
else
we're
is
living intentionally. Yeah.
something else that's pretty cool is you can ask ask ChatGPT or whichever chat you're using to be blunt and honest with you. You don't want him to get into that bubble where he's only giving you the accolades that you want to hear. They're always good for the ego, but they don't always help you improve yourself. But don't be afraid to chat with them, to ask them honestly, what are some ideas, knowing my personality, that you think I might enjoy trying? And you may get a list. And then from that list, you just build upon it. And also ask him, tell him this is some of the things that I'm dreaming of doing in my life. And he would say, do you want to help me to help you get a plan so that you can achieve it? You want to go climb a mountain? This is what you got to do to start out. And it's always
Yeah.
fun just to have that conversation because it's this conversation that you may not have had
Yeah.
with anyone else. Maybe because you're self conscious about it or you're worried about what they're going to say. They're going to say, you want to go hike the AT? Are you nuts? Yeah, I am. And guess what? I did. And I'm realizing just how life changing, just that bit that I did on it was. but it's a great way to talk to someone that's going to give you honest answers and not feel intimidated by it.
Yeah. So, just to wrap things up, any final thoughts that you wanted to share?
The last one would be the evolution of your business
Hmm.
and taking a look of where do you want it to go? Do you want to use AI? Do you not want to use AI? Do you want to use a hybrid method, which I think that's perfect because, you know, you feel safe because you still have that control.
Yeah.
And you've got to remember that even with the evolution of AI, you're always going to be in control. You're not losing control of you, of your work, of where you're going, of your business model. It always will be dependent on you because you're the boss of you. You're the
Yes,
one,
you are.
the decision stops with you. So don't forget that. Keep an
Yeah.
open mind. Don't forget that.
Yeah, definitely. So we would love to know what you think about AI in your author business. Are you using it? Are you not using it? How are you using it? If you are, drop us a comment. Let us know. We look forward to having
Yes.
that discussion. It's a worthwhile discussion to have. And as you say, it's being used, and
It's not going away.
let us know what you think. We'd love to hear.